Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Trip Tales podcast. I have to apologize for my voice first and foremost. For those of you who have been following me on Instagram, you know that we recently got back from our first Disney cruise and we had a bit of sickness. And we are joking that the Disney cruise beat us up. So I am recovering. I have a cold, but my voice is actually much better today than it has been. So we're just going to go with this episode. There will be another full episode of my honest review of our first Disney cruise, and hopefully my voice will even be a bit better by then. But today we are going to be talking about taking a family ski trip to Keystone, Colorado. But first, I have to thank my newest buymeacoffee.com supporter. Let me just say that starting this travel podcast where real people share real stories about their real trips was a dream of mine. And the fact that we now have over 30 episodes and people out there are actually listening is truly a dream come true. The crazy thing about podcasting, before you make it big or have a robust team in place, is that for the most part, it's just you and a microphone. Lucky for me, it's often me, a super cool guest through a Zoom screen and a microphone. But once we finish recording and I finish editing and I push an episode to go live, there isn't any immediate feedback. There aren't any likes or claps or really anything to go on to know if people are liking it. And for me, that's where buymeacoffee.com comes in. This website that was built for podcasters and creators like me is quite literally a space where a listener can tangibly show their support. Give me a pat on the back and let me know that they are listening and that they like the content I am creating. So I say all this to say I was shocked when I received the notification that my most recent supporter, Elaine, didn't just buy me a coffee, but bought me 10 coffees. Oh my gosh, I immediately screenshotted it and texted it to my husband with a crying, tears down my face emoji. It's a little scary to create something, close your eyes and hit publish, put it out in the world and hope someone or anyone likes it or finds it helpful. Elaine wrote, "Thank you so much for all you do. I love to travel, but don't have time to plan due to working and having 3 very busy kids. It's such a joy to walk my dog and dream of our next adventure. Thank you and keep the podcast coming." And this is exactly why I started Trip Tales. Whether you are tuning into an episode because you are researching and planning for that specific destination, or you tune in simply to escape and take a mini vacation in the middle of your day, I am so, so grateful you are here and grateful that we can explore all these amazing vacation destinations together. And with that, let's go on a family ski trip with my guest, Julia. Welcome, Julia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Kelsey. I'm happy to be here.
I start every episode with a rapid fire get to know you. So tell everyone where you live, what you do, and about your family.
I live in Franklin, Tennessee. I have 3 kiddos. My husband and I are both native Tennesseans, so we've both lived in the area our whole life. I work in commercial banking, and our family has always loved traveling. My husband and I's first trip together was actually a ski trip in Colorado. So we've been doing it for a long time.
Amazing. People who have followed me on Instagram for a while know that I love ski trips. I think my husband and I would both agree that it's our favorite type of trip. The mountains are my happy place, and there's this mix of being active and then cozy by a fire, all the cute little mountain towns, and everyone sleeps so well. It's just the best. I've been to Keystone once, but I don't really remember it well. It was a college spring break, and a group of us drove from Alabama to Colorado, which I remember being one of the more painful things of my entire life. I think we spent more time driving than we actually did in Colorado. So I don't remember much of what Keystone was actually like, but you guys have been many times, which is why I'm so excited to talk to you about it. So tell everyone why Keystone specifically is such a special place for your family.
Yes. So my husband actually grew up, he is from Chattanooga, and his family would drive as well every spring break from Chattanooga to Keystone. and they would get this big van and carpool with a bunch of family friends. They have pictures, from the 80s on top of the mountain in their 80s snowsuit gear, with 40 people. So he kind of grew up it being his absolute favorite happy place. So when we met in college, I had never been skiing, but love adventure, love exploring, love traveling. So I was up for the trip. So he took me out to Colorado and I fell in love with it. So we knew when our kids started skiing that we wanted all of their first time skiing to be in Keystone. Just it was such a special place to Matt. And so we started going when our youngest was 5. We kind of waited. Matt, my husband, started at 3. And there are kids out there that are 2 and 3. I mean, you see them, they're just tiny little things.
Yeah.
But we wanted our kids to be able to carry their own skis. That was kind of our our minimum requirement for them to ski. And so even though our 2 younger kiddos came out with us, we didn't have them ski until they were in that 5-year-old range. So we thought after they all started skiing that we would start to explore other mountains because my husband and I have skied other places, but now our kids are so in love with Keystone and we have so many memories there and we have our favorite places that we just keep finding ourselves going back year after year. And it's been a really special place for us. I think our kids have a good knowledge of the mountain, which is very helpful when your kids are faster than you and make it down faster. They know where to go. We have our meeting places. They know their favorite runs, and it's a very family friendly area. Tons of families, tons of different runs for every ski level. So it's been a great place for us not only to keep going back as a family, but we've also started bringing other families with us that maybe haven't skied before or want to try a new place. And it helps that we know it so well so we can really enjoy it and not have to worry about trying to figure out the ropes.
Yes, I love that. I also love that you made the conscious decision to wait till your kids were 5 because we didn't do that. And a lot of people don't do that. And we had all of our kids like trying at 2 and 3 and in ski school. And actually, we're going to Park City this winter. And um, my kids are older now, but my youngest niece will be 3 and she's got her ski boots and is all signed up. And it is for kids who like it, it works out well. But for my youngest, it's uncomfortable. It's cold. Those ski boots are so hard to walk in. So she
Yes.
has like a bad taste in her mouth about skiing because we forced her to so young. So we're trying to
Yeah.
like backpedal from that and be like, no, it's super fun. We swear.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing that you mentioned was for them to be able to carry their own stuff. For people listening who have not gone on a ski trip with young kids yet, it is if your kids can't carry their own stuff, the amount of years my husband and I would spend on our hands and knees trying to get those ski boots on them. I mean, we are
Oh my
dripping
God.
sweat in our
Yes.
ski stuff. Then we're carrying all their stuff. It's like you're a pack mule of these
Yes.
skis and boots. And it is a full blown workout before you even get on a
Yes.
chairlift. So that
Yes.
is very good advice to wait till they can carry their own skis.
Yes. Yes. No, I mean, and even at 5, they move slow in those boots and they get tired. So we do end up helping. But yeah, it is a workout. You earn
Yeah,
your dinner, you
you
earn your
do.
drink. Like it is not a leisurely vacation.
Right.
Um,
Once they get a little older, it can be a bit leisurely, but even still,
yes.
like skiing can be, I mean, it's a workout, which is
Yes.
awesome, but so sometimes that can come with some complaints or
Yeah.
whatnot with from the
Yes.
kids.
Yeah. Another great thing that I think a lot of mountain towns have this, but Keystone has a bunch of wagons just
Oh,
around. So if
I
you're
haven't seen that before. That's
okay,
awesome.
it's amazing. So, and they have these big giant snow tires. So you can put all of your skis, your poles, the boots, because we love to wear just our snow boots down to the mountain and then change, put our boots in a locker. So our snow boots in a locker and put our ski boots on. And then you just have the wagon that you can pull your stuff to your car or to your condo. And it makes for a much easier journey back to your bed.
Okay, that is like major. I've been to so many ski resorts and I've never seen these wagons. So
Yes.
that is a point for Keystone that there are family-friendly wagons around that you can throw all your kids' stuff in. That would be a huge game changer to get to the lift.
Yes. And we've even thought about, packing for a ski trip is a big
Yeah.
task because the jackets are big, the boots are big, everything's big. But we've thought about bringing a collapsible wagon and like a bike lock, just because sometimes it's hard to find the wagons because it is such a popular, if you see a free one, you grab it immediately. But we've thought about bringing our own little collapsible wagon so we could just like lock it up and always have it.
Oh my
So,
gosh, so smart.
yeah.
Okay. How does your family get to Keystone typically?
So we always fly. There's a direct flight from Nashville to Denver, and that has been really easy for us. We're Southwest Rapid Reward members, so we put everything we can into that, and a lot of times we get free flights, which makes it a big bonus because ski trips can be expensive.
Hmm.
And once we get to Denver, we rent a car and then we drive from Denver to Keystone, which Keystone is one of the closest ski mountains to Denver. It's only about an hour and a half, which makes it really nice. Some of them can be kind of hard to get to. So with kids, again, it's nice. It's only an hour and a half drive and it's a beautiful, just gorgeous scenery. And there's some cute little mountain towns along the way too that we've kind of found our favorite spots to stop and get lunch and stretch our legs. And we always make sure we get a 4-wheel drive vehicle because even though we like to go in spring, there still can be, massive snowstorms. So it's always nice to have 4-wheel drive cars.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that we don't go to Colorado as much is just because of that drive out to the ski resorts. I feel like it's hit or miss on the traffic sometimes. And
Yeah.
then that one road is gorgeous, but it's like if it's bad weather, it's
Yes.
kind of treacherous.
Yes. Yes. No, we've had some dicey trips. Thankfully my husband loves to drive in that and I hand that over to him and we say our prayers and but that's only happened a few times. Thankfully, most of the time it's not terrible. I will say there's a lot of people in Denver that will go to the mountains just for the weekend. And so if you're trying to drive like Friday night, Saturday morning, Sunday afternoon, those are going to be really high traffic times. So we actually also try to kind of plan the times that we're leaving as like maybe like a Monday morning arrival and then leave Saturday afternoon while everybody and still on the mountain, we head back to the airport.
You mentioned in your notes that you guys have a little bit of a tip for renting cars in the Denver airport because it can be a little chaotic. So, what is
Yeah.
your rental car tip?
Yes. So our tip that has saved us so much time is that I stay with the kids while we wait on our luggage and my husband hops on the trolley to go to the rental car area. In Denver, it's like a separate facility. So all of the rental car companies will have a bus or a trolley to take you. And it's probably like a 10 or 15-minute ride out there. So before we did that, we would be getting all of our giant suitcases, all the kids. It was such a hassle to get all of that on the rental car bus. So now we just stay, we wait on the luggage. My husband goes, picks up the car, and then he comes back to get us. And so then we don't have to lug our luggage to the rental car facility. And it saves time because he goes ahead to leave and he's gets in line earlier than we'd have normally been in line. And it's made it a much smoother process.
Nice. Do you
Yeah.
guys have like a preferred rental car company or do you just kind of book whatever the best deal is for that trip?
We just usually book whatever deal is best for the
Yeah.
trip.
We found that Costco typically has the best, like CostcoTravel.com has the best rental car rates. Um, but another thing that might be interesting for you guys, have you ever tried Turo?
No, we haven't.
So Turo, Turo, is an app that it's kind of like VRBO for cars. And
Yes.
a ton of people on this podcast have used it. I've used it multiple times. And it's basically just owners who might have extra cars or people might be making a business out of it now. But
Yeah.
airports specifically, they would have like a 4-wheel drive SUV parked at the airport, sometimes even the key in a magnetic thing under the wheel. So in that case, you guys could just walk straight to this car and
Yes.
it's super vetted. It's like when we
Yes.
first did it years ago, I was like, is this legit? Sorry if I sound funny how I'm talking. I have a cough drop in my mouth. But it all has worked out perfectly for us. Everyone on this podcast who's talked about it has always had a great experience. So that might be something interesting to look into because then
Yes.
you wouldn't have to do that whole
Yes.
runaround and you return
Yes.
it back to the airport.
That is such a good tip. I just made a note to have my husband look into that
Yeah.
because that is one thing is like once you land in Denver, it's like the journey's not over. You still have a lot to do before you get to your, cozy little mountain condo. So
Right. And the nice
any
thing about Turo is that you know exactly what car, make, model,
yeah,
year you're getting, whereas you go to a rental car place and you like kind of have picked it and they're like, oh, we're actually sold out. I feel like rental
yes,
cars have been a mess for a few years now.
yes, for sure.
I'm sure you've stayed a bunch of different places at this point, but what are your favorite places to stay most recently when you book a ski trip to Keystone?
So my favorite place to stay is right in River Run Village. That's the main village that the main gondola is located in. There's tons of condos right there. You're walking distance to the gondola. There's tons of restaurants and shops and little fire pits and hot tubs and pools that are heated right there. And it just makes it so easy. I love a park and stay kind of place where you're not having to get in the car and drive. And so that's been my favorite. There's a second gondola that's not too far. I mean, right next door to River Run called Mountain House. And there are also several condo buildings and houses in that area too. We've stayed there a lot too. It's a little bit cheaper rates. We feel like we can get better rates over in that area, but you're not right in River Run Village. So you're not right at where all the food and shops are, but it's still, you can walk to the gondola there as well. And for us, that is huge because we just love convenience. The further you get from the actual gondola area, the better deals you'll get. And my husband's family used to stay even further, a little town called Dillon that's right next door to Keystone, and then they would ride the bus in every
Mhm.
day. But to me, that sounds like a nightmare with kids.
Yeah.
Like, get me right on the mountain. And they have, we're a family of five. We're easily able to find like 2 and 3 bedroom condos. When Matt and I have gone by ourselves, we've gotten a 1 bedroom or a studio, and you have, beautiful mountain views right out your window. And, we talked earlier about lugging all of the skis. It's nice to be right there because all of these condos will have lockers in the bottom of them where you can store your stuff overnight,
Nice.
which is nice to not have to lug it upstairs or
Yeah.
any.
So for River Run, do you book those through the Keystone website or do you book those on a VRBO type situation? Hey, Trip Tales listeners. So, you all know how much I absolutely love creating content for Trip Tales, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to combine their love for travel and chatting with amazing people? But let's be real. As much fun as this is, travel content creation can be a bit pricey. From flights to hours of editing, while I juggle the chaos of being a mom of three, it's a wild but awesome ride. But guess what? There's this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was made specifically for creators like me and coffee lovers like, well, all of us. You can now support Trip Tales by literally buying me a coffee. Trust me, this busy mom could use a little caffeine boost to keep bringing you all the travel tales and tips you love. Plus, here's the fun part. If you do buy me a coffee, I'll give you a special shout out by name in the next episode. So, if you enjoy the podcast and want to support the show and my grocery bill, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves or click the link in the show notes. A huge thank you in advance for considering it and for keeping my coffee cup full and my mic on. All right, now let's dive back into today's episode.
We have always booked through VRBO, or our favorite rental company is Summit Cove.
Summit Cove.
Yes. So that's been our favorite agency to book through. Great customer service, great options. But you can book directly through Keystone Resort. And I think when you do that, they also try to offer a lot of like kids ski free. And so that would be something if you're looking at going into this area to check out just to get the best deal
Package. Yeah.
package. But we have found booking through either Summit Cove or a VRBO, and then we buy our lift tickets through the Epic Pass. And then that is how we've always done it.
Yeah. So we do the same thing. So let's let people in on something. Epic Pass used to be something you would really only buy if you kind of lived in the area and you were skiing all the time, but it's become something that can save you money, even if you're going on one ski trip a year, or maybe you'll go once a year with your family, once a year just as the adults. But it's as early as like in the summertime. You can look at epicpass.com if you know you're going to ski in the winter and get great deals in advance. We've done this, and you can even pick like the amount of days you're going to ski. So we're going to Park City this winter, and we have epic passes for just 4 days. And then you just use them the days you're there. So it's a pretty awesome. I mean, I'm not going to lie, and I know you'll say the same thing. A ski trip is one of the most expensive trips you can take. So you really have to be ready for it, budget. Like everything out there
Yes.
is expensive. Flights are going to be expensive. Lift tickets are expensive. Ski rentals are expensive. So it
Yes.
adds up real quick to like a 10K trip. But
Yes.
one way to save money is to do the Epic Pass as early as possible.
Yes. And we track that, sign up for all the emails. Once you buy one, you will start getting the emails, but we kind of track when prices go up. And we bought ours, I think it's like before Labor Day, you get the best rate. And like you said, you buy a 4 day pass, you can use it any 4 days in the season. You don't have to know your days. You don't have to go ahead and buy for a specific day. So we do the same thing. We buy a 4 day ticket and we'll go out for 7 or 6 days, but also has, we talked about it's very active, and you can be, skiing 4 days in a row is a lot. So we usually will ski a couple days, take a day off, and then ski a few more days. And so it's nice that your pass will work. You don't have to be consecutive days. It's whatever day you get scanned in at the bottom of the mountain.
Yes, we do the same thing. We like to take off days too because, whew, especially now that I'm over 40, I'm like, okay, is it time for an off day?
Yes, yes, yes,
It's such a workout on muscles that you like don't use all the time, which feels
yes,
awesome, but it's also
yes,
nice to take breaks.
yes,
Obviously, Epic Pass only works at certain resorts, so make sure you check the website and the resort you want to go to, make sure it is an Epic Pass resort. But
yes,
Keystone and Park City Mountain Resort are both Epic Pass locations, which is actually kind of exciting. So people could try to hit up both.
yes.
Um, do you typically rent skis once you're out there, or does anybody bring their own gear?
We rent every time. We've kind of weighed back and forth, especially for my husband and I, because we're not our foot's not growing, but it's really just nice and convenient to rent while we're out there. We rent kind of on the drive in a little bit before you get to Keystone. You'll start to see ski rental places, and we always again reserve ahead of time. You don't have to pay, you just are making a reservation, which I would highly recommend, because we've had people come out with us before, and maybe one person didn't think they were going to ski, and then they decide last minute to, and their rentals are all sold out, especially during really peak times like spring break or holidays. But we rent in Silverthorne, which is just again right outside of Keystone, and we found that we can save money a little bit that way because the rental prices are a little cheaper than right at the base of the mountain. If you rent at the base of the mountain, one of the benefits is that they'll a lot of times store your gear for you for free. So that's a big bonus if you don't want to carry it back and forth to your condo.
Do you know the name of the ski rental place you guys typically stop at?
Mountain Sports in Silverthorne.
Perfect.
And a nice thing about that is there'll be a few of those throughout. And so they share gear. If there's something they don't have, they can easily get it. I know helmets is one thing that you can kind of go to any of the place. Everyone wants you to have the helmet. So they, encourage you to rent a helmet with your gear. So it's nice to have kind of a network where if they don't have exactly what you want gear wise, they can get it from another store.
Nice. So you arrive and you get settled. If you're like us, you typically might make a grocery run or place like an Instacart order.
Yes, we do. We again, they're in Silverthorne, right across from Mountain Sports is a grocery store. It's kind of the only main big grocery store in the area. But we always go, we let the kids pick out their cereal, granola bars, things that you can pack in a backpack for the mountain to fuel up because you burn a lot of calories. Gatorade, water, it's so important to stay hydrated on a ski trip. Mountain sickness is a real thing, and the best way to battle that is staying hydrated. So we get jugs of water, we get Gatorade, and we load up on all the snacks.
Nice. Yes, altitude sickness is a real thing. We've had many people in our family or just being out there for weddings or whatnot where it really does hit people and it's kind of unexpected. So, the best tip I've gotten is to really start heavying up your water intake before you go. So, and I know it's hard with kids, but it's almost like make sure they drink a full, Nalgene or Stanley type of water every single day 3 days before you go and then keep that up. And it is so
Yep.
hard with kids. I felt like that was half of
Yep.
the problem on our Disney cruise when my daughter got so sick. At first, I thought it was dehydration because they'll just go all day in the sun, in the Bahamas, on the cruise ship. And you're like, have you had a sip of water?
Yes.
And it's hard to get that in them. So that is crucial for a ski trip. So once you get unpacked, you get your skis, your groceries. Let's say you guys go wander around the Keystone Village. Paint the picture of what the Keystone Village is like at the base of the mountain.
So it is something that you would just see out of a movie. It's, condo buildings with restaurants and stores all in the bottom. There's little fire pits, in every little nook and cranny. Um, and then you have this like gorgeous mountain backdrop. Our kids love to run around the village. There's tons of skiers and snowboarders and families walking around. There is a really cute little candy store called the Snack Shack
Cute.
that is kind of our kids' first stop. They love to go in there and grab, the grossest candy they can find. That, it's vacation, go for it.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like the gummy burger where
yeah,
you're like, what even is
yes,
this?
or like
How much red 40 is in this?
my favorite is the lollipop that looks like a plunger that you
Oh,
the
gross.
put in the toilet to get like the sugar on. And I'm like, that's who invented that?
Gross.
And a great thing about going in March for spring break is the weather's usually really nice. Still cold, but not miserable. So if you have little kids, like it feels doable. So we'll kind of just walk around and explore. There's so many great restaurants. And I love to go. We'll do our first dinner like right down at the base of the mountain. There's a little tavern called Kickapoo. It's our favorite spot to go for dinner as a family. So we usually go there first.
Nice. So after getting settled and getting your first night of sleep, tell everyone what a typical day at Keystone looks like for your family.
Yes, so it is a rise and shine type morning. We'll all wake up, make sure we get a really good breakfast, get all of the gear on. You want to have your base layer, your ski pants, ski jacket, hat, gloves. It's really important to get good gear. We realized we tried to kind of get, especially for kids because they grow so much, we tried to get just kind of, regular gloves. And we learned very quickly just invest in the good stuff because it's important to keep everybody nice and warm.
What are your favorite, like, do you have any go-to brands where if you're like packing up quickly? Because in Tennessee, so I lived in New England for 4 years and our kids had to have good snow gear. They would bring it to school. Like it was just part of life. Then we
Yeah.
moved here and I got a little lazy and I still find myself being like, do they have ski pants that fit, each year
Yes.
or good gloves or snow boots that fit? And so then a snow will come and I'm like scrambling. So
Yes.
do you have any like websites or brands that you're like, okay, that's a go-to. I know if we're low on gear, I can just stock up from here.
Yes, and it is like around Christmas time, when all the deals are happening is when I usually try and like load up on stuff. But really any of the outdoor stores that, there's like Sun and Ski Sports. locally here. I think they're online as well. They have great gear. Anything they sell is going to be great. North Face, Spider, but also LL Bean and then Land's End is
Yes.
those are great. I mean,
Tried and true. They've been
yes,
around forever. That was big in New England. I mean, their company's from up there,
yes,
but LL Bean, Land's End, and Columbia, I feel like are the three that are not as expensive because you're not
yeah,
paying for the brand as
yeah.
much. And we find a lot online through them, but I should try to visit like the local Sun and what's it called? Sun and Ski?
Yes, sun and ski. And really, too, because we go in March, which is the end of winter season, we've gotten jackets for our kids. Also, if you buy a jacket in October, it's probably not going to fit in March,
Right.
unfortunately. So we'll go at the beginning of March when all of the outdoor stores are, putting their winter stuff on sale and get really nice, like Obermeyer jackets for 50% off.
Okay, awesome.
So that's another good tip. But yes, getting good gear is important. And you definitely want to get it at home before you go out there because the mountain prices are going to be top
Yes.
dollar. Yes, there's no deals to be had at the mountain. But when you're desperate, you'll pay for it.
Right.
We've had to go buy North Face gloves for my son because his hands were frozen at the top of a mountain. So I think we had some Target gloves or something that were not cutting it for him.
Yes, that was my most recent splurge last time I was out there. Is I was like, okay, I Tennessee has turned me into a wimp. I don't want to be freezing. And so I bought like the nicest gloves. I'm blanking on the name now, but I will put them in the show notes. I bought them at a store out there, so I'm sure they
Yep.
were like marked up, but
Yeah.
they're like leather, so warm. They come up to here. And the company was created for like they make gloves for Sherpas that like on the mountains and help people.
Yes.
And I'm like, those are the gloves for me. So
Yes.
they make cute ones and women's ones, but I have like the heavy duty gloves now. And I even put hand warmers in them. Like keeping
Yes.
your toes and fingers warm,
Yes.
head, toes, and fingers is huge for staying warm the whole day.
Yes.
Okay. So a typical day, you guys get loaded up in all your
Yes.
gear,
Yes.
which takes like a while. You got to
It does.
bake
It
in some
does.
time.
You have to be patient, but you want to get on the mountain early because it's kind of the best snow. And so we do try to, buck up and even though we're on vacation, like get up early, get going, get to the mountain. They will scan your Epic Pass, gets you on, ride the gondola up or even just the ski lift. And then we'll kind of look at the map and let our kids pick what runs they want to do. They all have their favorite runs now. Like I said, we've been to this mountain several times, so they kind of have their favorites. And then we'll spend the next, 2, 3, 4 hours on the mountain until everyone's kind of hits the lunch wall. And then we'll usually come down and have lunch at the bottom of the mountain, but there are places at the top of the mountain that you can stop to and even just to get like a hot chocolate or just like a quick granola bar bite. So we'll usually do our biggest run kind of in the morning, have lunch, and then most of the time we'll go back to the mountain. There's been a few times where you get all warm and cozy and you're like, I don't know if I can go back up on the mountain and ski more. But sometimes maybe, 2 or 3 of us will go back on the mountain and the other two will go back to the condo. But there's so much to do around too that it's like you want to ski as much as you can because we usually just do one trip a year. So we try to get our money's worth and ski as much as we can. But we also have other activities we like to do out there too.
Yeah. When I was younger growing up, my family started skiing when I was a kid, which I was so thankful for. And my dad kind of instilled that ski trip mentality, kind of like your husband's family. So it's become a tradition for us now too. But of course, as you're growing up and, in my teens, I wanted to be cool and, try to get better and do the black diamonds or try to go
Yes.
into the terrain park. And then now that I'm older, I call myself a controlled cruiser. And I'm like, I am perfectly happy on greens and blues.
Yes.
If y'all want to go do something else, great. I might try to make my way down one black at some point. But for the most part, I'm controlled. And I also like to do 3 runs and then sometimes take a break. Like I'm like, oh, Now it's time for a water or a hot chocolate or an adult beverage. And
Yes.
then a few more runs, and then it's
Yes.
lunch, and then a few more runs, and then it's après ski. So I'm like, that's my type of ski trip.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's vacation. You want to do it the way that makes you happiest.
Yeah.
I am very thankful. My husband's an excellent skier. I'm very much like you. Like, I can do all the things, but I really just enjoy the mountain. I love the scenery. I mean, if you haven't been to Colorado, it's or any kind of mountain town, just the mountains and the snow and the trees. It's so beautiful. So I love to ski and take in all the scenery. My kids are like, get me down as fast as I can. Let me see what trees I can kind of weave in and out of. And Keystone does have probably 5 or 6 little fun areas. They're marked with smiley faces on the map, but they're specifically designed for kids, like cute little paths that they've made through trees, or they'll build little bridges or humps. And it's
Oh,
just
that's so
a
fun.
fun little thing. And so they want to go do all of those. They have their favorite ones. There is a terrain park, which my son loves. And I usually get stuck being the videographer. I'm like, I will not do the jumps, but I will video all the fun things you do. And so we spend a lot of time over in the terrain park as well.
So
Uh,
fun.
yeah.
Have you guys ever done ski school out there?
Yes. And I would highly recommend ski school for anyone who has not skied before. We all of our kids did ski school. I did ski school when I was learning. Again, it can be another investment, but it's so worth it. We put our kids in group lessons. It's a little bit more affordable than private. But then we actually went out with another family that had 3 kids, and we found out that doing a private instructor, you can do 1 to 6 people with a private instructor. So it's way more affordable than the group lesson price. So we did a private instructor for our 6 kids for 3 days, and we just did half days. And then we kind of took them on the slopes the second part of the day, and they're all phenomenal skiers now. So I think it's an investment, but it's so important because you learn the right way to do it. You learn kind of the safety and rules of the mountain, which is important. You're out there with tons of other skiers, so you kind of need to learn what you're supposed to do on the mountain. And also, selfishly, for my husband and I, we loved them being in ski school because we got to go just free reign, do the mountain ourselves. And now our kids are so good that they're doing stuff that I wouldn't even do. But when they were first learning, it was very stressful as a parent, following them down the path, making sure they don't run into someone or someone doesn't run into them. And so it was also just a nice break for us to get to go enjoy the mountain while they were in ski school.
Yes. I agree that ski school is essential. And I like how you put it. It's an investment. That's a good way to think about it because it's really an investment in their future. Like they'll
Yeah.
be able to ski and go with other families and maybe their future spouses or whatever. Like it's, like swimming, riding a bike. It's just like a
Yes.
great skill to have.
Yes.
And yes, group lessons are a bit more affordable. Again, like we've talked about already a few times, book in advance because
Yes.
they do book up at most
Yes.
places completely. And we're doing the same thing in Park City this year where we found out that another family or two that we know was going to be out there. And so we did a private with all the kids, which is kind of fun.
Yes.
And it did end up being slightly cheaper than them all being in group lessons. It's
Yeah,
all pretty much still. I was like, whoo, I need
I
to
know.
open a new credit card and earn a sign up bonus with this ski
Yes.
school. But it's fun, like you said, because then my husband and I will go off for a little bit by ourselves. And I think it might be my last year of ski school for my oldest 7th grade girl, and maybe even my 4th grade boy. We'll see. But we did want that time. So we're doing one more
Yeah.
year of ski school, and then I'm sure they'll be done with it
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah. And they have, several levels. So even if your child is a good skier, they can take an advanced lesson and learn,
Right.
even, which is how I think my kids are better than me now, is because they learn so quickly and don't have the fear. And we're in, an advanced lesson, and they kind of learn some really good tricks and skills that like you said, they'll have these skills for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and it's really truly skills that don't come naturally. So like I remember I took them quite a bit as I was growing up and even older too, because my parents would be like, "Here, take this advanced one." We took one on moguls, which are those like bumpy
Yeah.
hills where you're going. And I like took a moguls lesson, which now I know they're always like, or in my lesson, they said, pick your next three turns. So you'd go one, two, three, and then stop. And then you pick your next three, one, two, three. And then the other big thing I always remember from ski school is they were saying lean down the mountain. So your natural reaction is to lean backwards because you're kind of nervous, but
Yeah.
that makes the front of your skis go up and you go way faster. But if
Yeah.
you lean into it, so anyways, there's all these tips and tricks that will help you even later in life that you're like, no, lean down, even if you're
Yeah.
feeling nervous. So
Yeah.
my favorite thing about skiing is après. I actually wore my après ski sweatshirt for you
Yes.
today.
I love it.
So what do y'all typically do for après, which means after skiing, when you guys are finished with your day?
Yes. So I'll say one of our favorite places at the bottom of the mountain is the Crepe stand. And it has become a staple for our kids. Of course, they love the Nutella crepes, give them all the Nutella, strawberries, marshmallow. And it's a quick snack too. They are very fast. And it's kind of you just order at the window. And then you get to go sit by the fire. And, my husband and I will go. There's a brewing place at the bottom of the mountain too called Steep. And you can get a drink and again, just still enjoying the beautiful mountain view, but with your boots off. And you feel great because you just exercised for, 8 hours straight and just refueling and relaxing is a great way to end the day.
And there is nothing better than taking ski boots off your feet at the end of the day. It is
Feels
like
so
the
good.
best feeling in the world. And putting your regular snow boots on, you're like, these are the most comfortable boots I've
Yes.
ever worn in my
Yes.
entire life. I actually don't understand how they can't make more comfortable ones because my sister's a snowboarder and her boots are so comfortable. And I'm like, and I know there are expensive brands and whatnot, but I'm like, there's got to be a better way.
Yes, I agree. I know when you look at snowboarders and they're just like walking in what looks just like a normal snow boot, get so jealous because then you hear the click, click, click of the ski boots of everyone else, and it's not a comfortable thing to walk in.
No, that's something I want to invest in at some point is I think they even have heated ski boots now. And I'm like, okay,
Yes.
heated, molded to my foot and my
Yeah.
leg. That's on my list.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of your favorite restaurants in the area. You already said Kickapoo is one of your favorites. Are there any other, even if it's just like a pizza burger place that you guys like to hit up because it always works for your family?
Yes. So one of our favorite places right in Keystone is Snake River Saloon. And it's kind of, been there forever. It has a great happy hour. And kind of one side has like a bar feel where you can sit at the bar or they have pool tables. And then the other side is a nicer restaurant. So we love that. That one's always great. There's several pizza places around and we kind of love all of them. Pizza is such a easy, I think Pizza on the Run is the one right there in the village. And
Cute.
you just grab it and take it back up to the condo is so nice. Another thing that we love to do is Keystone is 30-40 minutes from Breckenridge, which is another awesome Colorado ski town. And so on our off day, we love to drive over there and park. And they have this main street that has tons of restaurants off of it. And there's a great pizza place called Dave's Pizza there that's kind of become like one of our traditions is on our off day we go and just you get to see new shops and new sights and a new mountain and then we'll stop there and have pizza.
Nice. I love Breckenridge. We love to take off days too and rest our legs. And a lot of these ski towns, there's a lot of other things to do in the area. So, in addition to exploring Breckenridge, are there any other activities or excursions that your family has enjoyed over the years on your off days?
Yes, so one of our favorite things to do is snow tubing. And there is a snow tubing on Keystone Mountain, but then there's also several little adventure park type places right in the area. And we've done several of them and had the best time at all of them. You usually buy like an hour long pass or you get a time slot for an hour. And there's a little magic rug, that takes you up to the top of the little hill and then you snow tube down. And they're all so fun. Our kids have loved that. There's a Nordic center in Keystone where you can snowshoe, which we've had friends come with us that aren't skiers and they've gone and snowshoed and have loved it. I think it's just another way to kind of immerse yourself in the beauty and get to, be in the snow without having to be a skier. Something we haven't done yet, but we've had friends do is snowmobile. That is kind of on our list. We were waiting for our kids to get a little bit older, but I think they're kind of at a good age now where they would all enjoy that too. So there's tons to do around that's kind of outside of skiing.
And is there an ice skating rink at Keystone or no?
Yes, there
I
is.
feel like I remember that.
Yes, there is. It can be hit or miss when we go in March. Sometimes they've already closed it for the season, but there's one right there, right by River Run Village. And they have the cute little helper, things for kids to hold on to while they ice skate. But again, it's very picturesque, like right at the bottom of a mountain skating rink. Keystone actually has a kids snow fort on top of the mountain too, that kids can go, and you can buy a gondola pass for pretty cheap. I mean, way less than a ski lift ticket. And on an off day too, we've done that before, just like ridden the gondola up, let the kids play in the snow fort, take pictures, just gorgeous views, and then ride the gondola down.
So is it made all out of snow?
Yes,
And how big is it? Like I'm trying to picture this.
it's something. I mean, it's like playground style, but bigger. I mean,
Are there little slides, like snow
yes,
slides?
little snow
Oh my
slides,
gosh.
little tunnels. They kind of have it made it look like a castle. Um,
Cute.
and so I'm sure it changes each year, but it always kind of looks very similar.
Wow, that's so cool.
Such a fun little thing right at the top of where the main gondola.
So if you already have lift tickets and you're skiing all day, can you just access it or
Yeah,
do you have to buy like an extra ticket
yeah,
for it?
no,
Yeah.
it's just right at the top of the mountain, so no extra tickets. The snow tubing is kind of behind it, and that's something you do have to buy an extra ticket for, but the snow fort is not.
My gosh, so cute.
Yeah.
Okay. What do your evenings typically look like on these trips? Are you guys going out to eat? Are you guys cooking in? What are you guys typically doing in the evenings?
We kind of do a little bit of both. Usually we are really tired at the end of the day because it is a lot of exercise, but we love to explore. We love to eat out when we're traveling because it's kind of just exploring the town. So, like I said, there's tons of places to eat in the village. There's an empanada stand. There's a Mexican restaurant called Lime that's really good. And then there's little strip centers all over where you can just find little spots to hop into. So we usually will go eat out, but we'll usually, when we go to the grocery store, we'll get something easy like spaghetti to make, carb load, and our kids love to just kind of watch a movie, get in their PJs, start a fire, play some board games. A lot of the condos that we rent will be stocked with board games, which is always fun. So we kind of do a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's the best is when everybody's like tired and sore and you play games or watch a movie, put the fire on. It's absolutely the best. And then
Yes,
you're like, I'm actually exhausted too, so I'm going to go to sleep early as well.
yes, yes, because you're going to wake up and do it all again the next day.
Right. Are there any sort of like hot tubs or pools that you guys hang out in the evening sometimes?
Yes, I think, when you're looking for a condo, that is something that's always on our must list is a hot tub and a pool. And I actually thought of that when I was saying, our kids get in their PJs. What they really want to do every day after skiing is go swimming. And I'm like, how do you still have energy? But I think it's just like the novelty of like swimming, you know, in a ski town, and it's just another fun thing for kids. So they love to get in the hot tub. They love to get in the pool. A lot of the condos will have indoor pools. But at River Run, there's two outdoor pools too that they say are heated. I would say not heated enough, but the kids will get in and swim for another hour and
Nice.
they seem fine. I like to get in the hot tub and get, a glass of wine and enjoy the scenery, but they love to swim. And so it's another fun way to kind of enjoy the condo and
Yes. This isn't a have to, but it's been helpful for us the last couple of trips as I've just bought them cheapy robes on Amazon that they can use as like, pajama robes or towel robes. And then when they
yes,
get in and out of those hot tubs, they like throw the robe on. We have some sort of a slipper that has more of a sneaker bottom, and then it's easier to get to and from as opposed, which they're tough. They can run in a towel with bare feet as
yes,
well. But I have been packing that kind of stuff as well in our recent ski trips just to give them a little bit of warmth when they get out.
that's a great idea because it is freezing and you don't really want to put on your coat because you're wet.
Right.
So then they have a towel and they're just running. And so that's a great tip. They would love that.
Okay, Julia, I end every episode with if someone out there is planning a family ski trip to Colorado, what is it about Keystone that would make you say, just book it?
I would say just book it. It is a beautiful, fun, adventurous family trip that you will have lifelong memories. And it's something that a family can do together from young to old. And you will never regret being in a beautiful place, seeing gorgeous mountains, and exploring a little village just full of adventure. And it's something that you will remember for the rest of your lives.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for all this information about Keystone. You're making me want to switch my Utah traditions and try Colorado sometime soon. So
Yeah,
I
yes.
mostly for the wagons. I'm like, I want wagons. But thank you so much for being here.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales.